It's no mystery that I love defending shows most people find disgusting or just downright horrible. Perhaps I tend to see the merits in these anime series that others have decided to dismiss merely because of their subject matter. I guess it's a sense of duty to stand up for the underdog of the medium. Aside from incest shows, I often find myself defending the merits and integrity of harem anime series. Two of the biggest pieces of criticism leveled against these shows are that they're wish fulfillment power fantasies for young boys, and that it's all sexual fan service spectacle with no substance whatsoever. I won't claim that every harem anime is unworthy of those criticisms. What I would like to focus on is, instead, an anime that attempts to address and subvert them in order to tell a compelling story. Renai Flops was an anime that no one watched, yet it potentially could have been a fascinating, self-aware critique of the harem genre that not only commentates on the genre itself, but also its audience. Even with a promising premise, Renai Flops fails horribly at the very last second. It's not because of a rough second half or a bad final episode or anything like that. It was just one single scene. It does sound like exaggeration how one tiny scene can ruin an entire 12 episode long anime. But trust me that this one little scene goes against the entire thesis of Renai Flops and everything that sets it apart from other harem rom-coms out there. I'm not disappointed with the scene because I hate the harem genre and want it to be fixed per se. I'm disappointed because this show decided to backpedal on this decision. I welcome any attempt to take this genre in a direction that proves to others that maybe, just maybe, an emotionally riveting, meaningful narrative can be found within it after all. Now, how exactly does this one scene ruin Renai Flops' central theme, you may ask? Well, we have to take it from the beginning. Renai's Flops first half plays it pretty straight as a harem rom-com story. Our self-insert, Asahi, meets 5 different girls whom he has to choose one to become his fiancé. The members of his harem include Aoi, Mofa, Amelia, Karin, and Irina. In the first 6 or so episodes, Asahi learns more about the girls and their internal struggles, which help him establish a very strong bond with them as the series goes on. There seems to be nothing necessarily out of place except for a few foreshadowing moments that build up over time. First of all, the setting feels futuristic, yet there's no explanation for it. There are holograms, trash can robots, AI's news anchors, and so on and so forth. Second of all, Asahi keeps getting these random flashbacks of him and the girls interacting when they were kids, even though they've only just met. Third of all, one of the episodes even jumps the shark and shows that Karin is a magical girl with superpowers. The element of mystery surrounding this anime convinces me that there's more than meets the eye. This culminates in an incredible twist that throws every expectation I had about Renai Flops out of the goddamn window. After episode 7, it's revealed that none of the heroines is a real person. They are all artificial intelligence created by a virtual reality program Asahi joined as a test subject. This revelation admittedly breaks Asahi down completely since he had no memories of the time before he entered the program. Soon, the series reveals that Asahi chose to enter the simulation as an attempt to escape from the trauma caused by Ai's death, his childhood friend and first love. With this memory returning, Asahi becomes devastated that his past trauma has catch up with him and that his bond with the 5 girls was just one big lie. This gigantic twist threw me for a loop when I first watched it because I somehow didn't see it coming. And this very twist codifies exactly what Renai Flops' core theme is. Renai Flops turns out to be a story that challenges the very genre it belongs to. It's a commentary on the ramification of excessive use of escapism as a coping mechanism. Holy shit, this anime is about me, for real, for real, for real. She's not real. She's just a figurine of an anime character. She's real to me. Although Renai Flops might not be the first of its genre to explore this concept, it's one of the few that is blatantly self-critical. At the beginning, it was not clear why the story had to take place in a futuristic yet believable setting where artificial intelligence has become an integral part of society. Afterwards, we now understand that Renai Flop uses its futuristic setting to point out our growing dependence on technology, especially in the romance department. It's a commentary about the trend in which technology has become a replacement for actual relationships. A fantasy for people who fail to successfully find companionship with real humans to seek out alternative options like an AI girlfriend. What I used to appreciate about Renai Flops is that it encourages Asahi to properly move on. In the show's third act, Asahi reunites with the AI girls again to stop Aoi, who has gone rogue and seized control of the entire country's AI system. All of them enter the VR world in order to stop Aoi's rampage and save her from whatever is causing her to go crazy. Unfortunately, this effort comes with a cost since all of the girls have to sacrifice themselves for Asahi to even reach Aoi. Turns out, Ai still somewhat exists in the virtual world as the prototype/soul for the AI characters that were all modeled after her. Finally reuniting, both of them get to properly say their goodbyes by confessing their love and being honest with each other. Before, Asahi and Ai were so afraid of parting ways that they kept each other at arm's length. Instead of cherishing their time together until the very end, they were running away from the reality that they will never be able to see each other ever again. This reunion gives them both a chance to earnestly show their love until the very last second, so there won't be any more regret. With Ai and Asahi getting the closure that they deserve, the malfunction of the program ends and allows Ai's soul to peacefully pass on for good. With no more regrets and sorrow, Asahi has decided to move forward with his life and go back to school. He has learned to not let the pain from the past haunt him any longer. It may be terrifying to establish new relationships with people, but Asahi knows that escapist fantasy is not the solution. You can't heal the real wound in your heart with virtual bandages after all. Essentially, the story wants to impart to you a lesson not to use escapism as a crutch to genuine happiness, or a coping mechanism for the negative experiences you have faced in the real world. To understand that escapism should never be a replacement for that essential need for a genuine human connection. Well, if that's all there is to the show, I wouldn't be making this video, would I? Even after that optimistic ending where a time skip happens and Asahi has started his new path in college, we're greeted with the biggest slap in the face moment ever. Somehow, even though they should have all been deleted, the AI girls came back. Like, they're alive again, basically. That's not all, because the scientist lady who was Asahi's observer in the program managed to create human bodies for all the girls off screen. So now they can just go live with Asahi again in the real world. Holy shit, my waifu has become real, guys! My AI girlfriends are all real now and they're all unconditionally love me because they're programmed based on my deceased girlfriend. Yeah! Wow. Just wow. I'm honestly impressed how one small scene just ruins the entire point of the series. One of a kind anime series that defies the expectations everyone had for it. It could have been a legendary anime, but it backpedaled so goddamn hard on its bold decision to kill the entire Harem roster. To say I'm a little disappointed is an understatement. I'm devastated about this decision by the anime because its core message is what makes the series so interesting and unique. Its self-awareness, comedic writing, and endearing characters initially drew me in to get me to lower my guard, and then it subverted my expectation in the greatest way possible. Admittedly, this series knows its audience very well, and it knows exactly how to reel people like me in without alarming too much suspicion. After being tricked into enjoying another relatively normal harem show, it betrays our expectations for the sake of the story it really wants to tell. I admire Renai Flops for that, and that is what is so frustrating about the final scene. This scene goes against everything Renai Flops was trying to claim about its theme. That lesson about Asahi overcoming his depression and moving on to a better tomorrow has gone out the window. The lesson that teaches him not to rely on virtual reality and AI girlfriends to make up for his lack of actual human relationships is now void. Now the show is saying not to worry about facing reality because these pieces of technology will always be there for you. Even if the love of your life has died before you could confess your love to her, that's okay, since you can just talk to an AI version of her. It's basically the same thing! For disclaimer, I don't think that a harem series has to have this theme to be good, or that me liking this show's message is a way for me to bash all other harem series. I'm simply criticizing a series that wants to have its cake and eat it too. It can either be a sincerely wholesome romance series about a bunch of girls liking the same guy, or a critique of the self-indulgent otaku culture and whatnot. Maybe it can be both, but I don't think Renai Flops has successfully done that. Renai Flops was so close to greatness, but alas, maybe even appropriately, it flopped right at the very last second. That's what I would like to say, but I'm not confident enough to claim that I'm any better than this series, despite how I believe it fails in what it wanted to say. Sure, this anime might have pivoted on its themes, but am I any better? No matter how many lessons about the potential danger of escapism I learn, I'm still very much susceptible to it. The reason I'm so interested in analyzing Renai Flops is because it tackles something very close to home for me. I understand exactly why it's so appealing to indulge in the wish fulfillment fantasy provided by harem anime. For people who lack the means to experience romance in real life, it's alluring to just come home from work and watch a VTuber make chocolate for Valentine's that you will never taste. It's tantalizing to open Steam and launch a visual novel where you can choose which of these 2D waifus you're going to romance. It's comforting to just rewatch Toradora every Christmas to feel like you've actually dated someone. Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware of all of this, and yet I can't bring myself to say that I'm above it. Mitigating through your relationship with escapism is an ongoing process. It's not going to be easy for those who have fallen into it even deeper than I have. Some people would even say there's nothing wrong with it. Once you have carved a closed-off environment free of the outside world's influence, you can just change reality in any way you see fit. Anything you like, you perpetuate. And anything you hate, you can just wipe it out of existence. Perhaps the struggle is why I can't fully criticize Renai Flops for not fully committing to its theme. Perhaps the message of Renai Flops wasn't completely betrayed even with the revival of all of the AI girls. As we can observe in this ending, Asahi has gotten over his depression and moved forward with his life, not by forgetting about Ai, but using his memories with her as his strength to keep going. I suppose his harem's return is more of a cherry on top that serves to congratulate him for how far he has come. Regardless of what happens in the narrative, from our perspective, the revival feels cheap and unnecessary. It's overly comforting and idealistic. It takes away from the emotional growth of Asahi and the rest of the girl's noble sacrifice. I appreciate that this ending sort of represents the possibility that a person can regress in spite of what they've learned. We're not perfect, and we can fall backward if we're not careful. However, I do not want the show to overly cater to my weaknesses and expects failure out of me. I want this anime to not hold any punches and beat me with the fact that these anime girls are not real. They're fictional, both in the story and obviously in the real world. Of course, it sucks to be reminded by a piece of media that whatever you're enjoying is fake. But that cruel reminder is how we remember to not give up. A reminder to not limit your potential and your happiness to just your time spending in front of a screen. You're stronger than how Renai Flops views you. You can be happy even if you don't depend on technology and media to feel loved and accepted. Never forget why art is so special to you and me. Art helps us communicate and connect with others. Art is not just mindless entertainment to distract us from our lonely and horrifying existence. Art is here for us to understand one another in a way no mere words can. So don't let art replace others. Instead, use art so that you can love and understand others. Even if you might flop on your face like an idiot every once in a while.